Hello, my name is Jennifer, and I'm going to share with you a story of a song called There's a Song in the Air. This is a Christmas song, and I'm reading from the book called Stories Behind the Best Loved Songs of Christmas, written by Ace Collins. This book is available at zondervan.com. I'm reading chapter 27, There's a Song in the Air. In the summer of 1904, Carl P. Harrington was working on the most important assignment he had ever been given. The teacher, composer, and church music director was helping to assemble a new Methodist hymnal. As he reviewed hundreds of familiar songs previously published in other songbooks, Harrington carefully considered the task at hand. In between the covers of the hymnal had to be songs that would address every worship need of countless different congregations. That meant he had to include music that could be sung by huge choirs in places like Boston and by tiny congregations in places like Salem, Arkansas. Every pastor and song leader would be depending upon the songs included. Other than the Bible itself, his project would be the most important tool found in most churches. The missionary task of leading the lost to Christ and inspiring the saved to work for the Lord would be helped or hindered by the songbook. Even for a man of Harrington's education and experience, the job he faced was overwhelming. The middle-aged Harrington had been chosen for the project because he had studied at a dozen different colleges in the United States and Europe. A talented organist, he knew worship music well and had penned several original songs while also developing new arrangements for dozens of recognized works. As a Wesley University music professor, he had the time to properly study thousands of songs and consider their merits. Yet even though his hours spent with students gave Harrington a new perspective and energy, his months employed studying hymns and making cuts in the hymnal seemed to zap his vigor and strength. Why have I accepted this job? He must have wondered. What chance do I have of satisfying the needs of everyone who picks up the songbook? Can I find one song that will touch all those who use this hymnal? Harrington loved to read. It was one of the ways he relaxed. In an attempt to get away from the demands of his work, the teacher often turned to one of his favorite authors, Josiah Holland. As he toiled over the hymnal, his reading of Holland's works became more and more of a refuge. Josiah Holland was born in 1819 in Massachusetts. After trying to master the new art of photography, Holland went to college and became a doctor. Soon, however, his love for literature exceeded his passion for medicine. By the time he reached the age of 40, he had given up his practice and was on the staff of the Springfield Republican. A few years later, he found Scribner's magazine. While editing the prestigious monthly, Holland began to write novels. His works of fiction reflected his own moral upbringing. In each of his heroes, readers found strong figures who might have been tempted but never strayed far from the straight and narrow. In the midst of turning out several best-selling books, Holland also wrote poetry. A deeply religious man, the editor used the story of the first Christmas to create a poem for an 1874 Sunday school journal. There's a Song in the Air combined a sweetness and majesty rarely found in holiday verse. The way the writer mixed the image of a young mother, her new baby, the events of the birth, and the revelation that this child was the king of all creation was indeed inspired. Yet this unique view of Christ's birth might have been lost if the author hadn't decided to reprint it in an 1874 book entitled Complete Poetical Writings. 3 decades later, more than 25 years after Holland had died, it was Complete Poetical Writings that Carl Harrington chose to help him escape from the rigors of finding songs for a hymnal. It was a hot summer day when Harrington wiped the sweat from his brow as he turned the pages of Holland's book. Taking a sip of a cool drink, The teacher read the next poem. As he silently studied the words, his eyes lit up. Holland's works were usually casual and distant, but this one was aflame with vigor and energy. When he finished There's a Song in the Air, Harrington took a deep breath and read the poem again. This needs to be put to music, he thought. This piece needs to be sung by Christian voices everywhere. Going over to the organ, Harrington again studied the words to There's a Song in the Air. This time he read them aloud, forming a tune around each phrase. As his fingers touched the keyboard, a melody came to life. On an oppressively hot summer day, much like Torm's The Christmas Song, written almost 40 years after it, a great Christmas song was born. In 1905, Carl Harrington's music was officially married to Josiah Holland's poem in the first printing of the Methodist hymnal. An answer to a professor's prayer, There's a Song in the Air, became the perfect song for large and small churches, as well as one of the most beautifully crafted carols ever written. And I'm going to read to you the words of this carol. There's a song in the air, there's a star in the sky. There's a mother's deep prayer and a baby's low cry. And the star rains its fire while the beautiful sing. For the manger of Bethlehem cradles a king. There's a tumult of joy over the wonderful birth. For the virgin's sweet boy is the Lord of the earth. Aye, the star rains its fire while the beautiful sing. For the manger of Bethlehem cradles a king. In the light of that star lie the ages impearled, and that song from afar has swept over the world. Every hearth is aflame, and the beautiful sing in the homes of the nations that Jesus is King. We rejoice in the light, and we echo the song that comes down through the night from the heavenly throng. Aye, we shout to the lovely evangel they bring, and we greet in his cradle our Savior and King. Thank you for joining me for this story today about this Christmas carol, There's a Song in the Air.